So today, thank you, Anya Kamenetz, for joining us.
We have to act differently and forgive ourselves as much as we are forgiving our kids, to know that every single moment, we're not going to be perfectly responsive or sensitive to them. Elvie?
If you don't know already, Anya is the esteemed author of several books, including The Art of Screen Time, How Your Family Can Balance Digital Media and Real Life. She's a sought-after public speaker. She's an ed correspondent. She's the ed correspondent for NPR, and I'm a huge follower and fan. She's been featured on CNN, PBS, written for the New York Times, Newsweek, Washington Post. So thank you so much for joining us. I have a few questions for you, and the first one is this idea of the good parent. I think a lot of parents are having a really hard time balancing what they expected of themselves as good parents and what's actually happening in their homes. So how can we get out of these preconceived notions?
Yeah, that's such a great question. And it was brought to me by a mother that posted on an email list that I'm on. And she said, I don't want to be the taskmaster for my kids. So I don't know how to address, trying to get them to do remote learning. And so here we are, we're kind of parenting in a way that, maybe only like pioneer women did in the 19th century, when they were just living all by themselves in a sod house with only their immediate family and doing all the shopping and cleaning and cooking and teaching the kids. And, the rules are different now.
When families, and I can speak from personal experience, have rules around screen time, and then suddenly now I'm grappling with one child who is in front of her computer mandated between 8:15 and 3, Monday through Friday. And wow. I have another one who doesn't even have to wake up until 11 o'clock because class doesn't start till then. And lo and behold, of course, he slept through his first class, which started at 11. And it feels very unregulated right now. So what kind of advice do you give for parents on those kind of screen time rules in the household?
Well, I just want to say that, we're in a crisis period. And so we need to start from a framework of harm reduction, which means less bad, not great, not perfect. When it comes to kids that are a little bit older, as you describe, we are working on helping them develop that self-awareness and that self-regulation. So rather than us coming in to impose hard and fast rules, we really are trying to be the agents of gentle check-ins to say, let's take a stretch break. Like, I know for myself, my neck hurts and my eyes get tired when I'm staring at the screen for so long. So can we have a family ritual or a time we all get outside or get physical? You can be as hardball or as softball with it as you want to be. We had a day last week where I told my daughter, you just have to take a day off from the Roblox. Like, I don't care what else you do, but just take a day off from the Roblox, because it's getting to be, that's her thing that she gets very clicked into and it's hard to pull apart from. So, instituting those breaks, whether they're, as rewards or as, whether it's the carrot or the stick, and prompting them to do that self-reflection on how they feel. I think those are the two really big things. With younger kids, you're really watching for that explosive reaction to too much screen time. And so what we're working on with my 3-year-old is the transition out from it. So we make a plan. How many episodes are you going to watch? What are you going to do after?
How many Peppa Pigs?
Like how many Peppa Pigs? Exactly. And then if you are upset when it's over, then we're going to say no next time. We're going to have to work on turning it off, saying goodbye, and we're going to watch it again another day.
So this leads me to my next question, especially with older kids when there are different, something that I've noticed, and I'm sure you've been reporting on this and I've heard from you, is people don't realize outside of their bubble what distance learning means, because everybody's experiencing it so differently with such a decentralized system that we have. And I mentioned my daughter's in front of the computer from basically 8:15 until 3, whereas some kids are literally not on anything at any time. So with all the schools, with this gigantic new situation facing them in terms of how do we educate each child, and some kids just not engaging whatsoever with what's put out there. And it could just be assignments or visit this website, but some kids are literally, I think the data is right, 50% of kids aren't doing anything right now, or more than 50%. You can,
Around that for public school students,
yeah.
yes.
What do families do?
Well, it's a funny territory to be in, and they always say this, but all bets are off right now. If you had a kid in a really high pressure educational environment, they may feel very anxious right now because they don't have the deadlines and the structure that they were used to and that you might have been used to and pushing them along. Um, I think for families with the resources, there's a silver lining to be found in this, in the sense that um, learning is happening all around us. It may be not part of a traditional structure in the same way. And, you know, the SATs and the AP exams may not look the same way. College admissions might not be the same, but the fundamentals of, you know, who your child is, how they're developing, the curiosity that they have, that's bringing them through each day. I'm finding a lot of solace in what my daughters are learning as far as how we run the household, how we treat each other, the signs of nature in the spring. They're spending, you know, this precious time that we do spend outside is just so much more captivating for all of us. And so thinking about learning more holistically, I think is really the key to finding a benefit within all of this panic and pain.
Yeah, I found too that just offering any kind of structure and then having clear communication with your teachers, if your teachers are available for that. I know a lot of them are inundated. But I think it's really hard when suddenly, I mean, it's right, we're exposing our household and our souls to each of our teachers.
Like
Um,
structure. How do you like structure?
Structure.
Um,
that's a long,
Um,
long word.
I think that keeping in touch with your kids' schools and teachers is really key. And I know that teachers are working super hard to keep those connections strong. And that's really the core of what their mission is right now, because being part of the school community is, you know, really the biggest thing that we're losing. So, and you can learn so much by staying in touch with your kids' teachers and understanding, you know, what their expectations are. That's great, Baby Doll. Good job.
So I'd love to ask one last question. In all your research and work, is there something that you've learned that you can share that's new, a new opportunity, something optimistic?
Well,
tea?
yes, and tea. I think the one thing that I'm taking inspiration from right now is the incredible formation of international communities. Students from all over the world and kids from all over the world are in the same boat right now. This is an incredible collective experience. And because we have the internet, we're able to connect and compare our circumstances and learn and move forward together. So, you know, countries in Africa have things to teach United States and Eastern Asia. And you know, I think the networks that we'll have that form out of this will be incredibly powerful.
I love that. It's, I mean, not to get too political at all, but it's very counter to what's happening right now in many ways.
It's counter to what's happening politically, but you see it happening in science, you see it happening in the social sciences, and really everywhere. People are coming together to problem solve, not caring what country you're from.
Yeah, I hope that that is shared more than what's going on in our Oval Office. I think that's critical to our getting out of this. So,
Me too.
yeah, well, thank you so much, Anya.